Hello and welcome back to Mechabellum, where today we're trying out the brand new update. That's right, there's a new update and it's got all kinds of new toys, specifically a giant angry robot that throws its fists at things, and I'm all about that life. So we're going to start off with going with the only thing strategy, which I'm super a fan of, you guys may know this, but things will change dramatically as we carry on here. But first off, let's just go ahead and get all our units in the proper place. We'll just leave these guys just hanging around. We'll, I don't know, put you here, you here. Is that right? I suppose right there. And then we'll add in another unit so we can get all of our fangs in the right places. And just kick us off in the first round to see what this starts out with. Looks like our opponent has gained the cost control specialist, which will grant them an extra 100 supplies per round, but all of their units are, well, all their base stats are reduced by 13%. Whereas I, on the other hand, have access to quick supplies specialist. That's an additional 200 bonus resources in the first round. So, because I have extra resources in the first round, I would reasonably expect to win this round, as we do. But come 2 rounds from now, my opponent will have more resources than me. We'll see how that turns out. So, because we're going with the only fangs strategy, I'm going to be getting only fangs, at least to start with. However, I've come to the conclusion that it's a good idea to, well, get a little flank going, because I like to be cheesy like that, and also, just more importantly, to save some cash for next round. I'm going to go ahead and use the shield drop here to let my fangs stay alive a bit longer. I imagine my opponent will do something similar. None of the units, that's actually not true. I do have a pair of Phoenix units on the field, both of which are quite capable of removing energy shields. So we'll get to deal with those. All those drop shields can go away. I probably need more, but as it stands, fangs and a majority of the units I have on the field right now are just not adept or really meaningfully capable of dealing with shields. Looks like my opponent is deciding to keep his shield for another round and not using it this time, which I imagine is more due to their forgetfulness than anything else. We see the Fang flank warping in, which is going to get dumpstered by that Arclight, but I'm okay with this because I have a plan. And I have a plan that, well, hopefully will leave my opponents scrambling what to do about it. And it's going to be amazing. Honestly, I don't want to spoil it for those who haven't seen it yet, because it is genuinely amazing and it makes me happy that it exists. Alright, looks like the opponent will take this round, which is not a big... Oh, wait a minute. Timing? Nope. Alright. I'm very okay with bleeding some HP for this round, because what we do now is, well, for what do I take this? If I take this, I can't get. It's fine. It's fine. Take it. Deny it to the opponent. We get a fortress on the field, because the fortress has a brand new ability called the Rocket Punch. And yes, it is as every bit as awesome as it sounds. So let's go ahead and grab another... Nope. We're going to save it for more... Save it for more fortresses next round. Just keep the money. We don't need it this round. We could use it next round. And as you guys might imagine, fortresses are extremely great at single target DPS. So with that shield airdrop, whenever my opponent decides to drop it, will become quickly smashed, which super into that idea. And as it stands, we already have our rears kind of sort of covered by crawlers. Of course, on the... I'm going to describe the unit matrix. We only have swarm and anti-ground here, so if they were to drop any kind of air unit or anti-swarm here, they would just clean through all this. Same thing on this side, so we're not immune to flank, but it at least gives our opponent some cause for concern. Let's see, our opponent is getting some upgraded snipers and added additional Mustangs, and now added a Mustang on this side as well to cover the flank. But that's fine. I'm not planning on using flanks as a cheesy thing so much as an increased pressure deal. I intend to pressure one side more than the other to force a kind of asymmetry in their lines, get them to be ineffective or inefficient with their goods. We'll notice here that we're likely to lose this round as well, and I'm very okay with that, because as it stands, I'm looking to get a lot of units on the field so that I can then apply tech onto them and power spike quite hard. As once I get a lot of units on the field, the tech will apply to each and every one of them. So that power spike from the tech will apply to more units and thus hit our opponent a little bit harder than they would otherwise expect. That and tech without having a bunch of units on the field is kind of a waste of time, so it's just inefficient to get tech on one unit unless that tech would be incredibly powerful, which we haven't quite gotten there just yet. Improved firepower control system. I kind of sort of want it, but I want money more. So we're going to grab this, put you here, put you here, so we can have a chaff in front, and I'm actually going to buy out here to get Rocket Punch, because Rocket Punch is a good unit, and it makes me happy. Let's see. I also should stem any kind of bleeding we have. Let's go ahead and grab HP here for fortresses, as they seem to have trouble digging through it. Our opponent is going to have to invest fairly substantially into anti-fortress, which is exactly what we want them to do. Because Rocket Punch is very simple. The fortress will launch their fists to attack enemies, triggering once the fortress's HP drops below 70% and 40%, respectively. The range of the Rocket Punch is 180 meters, causing 15,000 damage to the target and enemies within 25 meters of the target. This, of course, scales with level, dealing an additional 15,000 damage per level. So basically, we want the fortresses to die, and while we still really realistically cannot afford the fortresses to get targeted by a melting point, thus the chaff in front. In practice, what we can end up wanting is to have the fortress die before the chaff, unless the melting point gets involved. So I will be adding even more fangs at all points in time, because that's just going to ruin their day. And of course, the Rocket Punch is both single target with some amount of splash. It's not great splash, but it is splash nonetheless, and so it will be able to clear out most of these things, which is, I think, quite amazing. And we see the Rocket Fists doing a little tiny little massive explosions. Oh, chunky. Love to see it. Love to see it. Makes me happy. Our remnant crawlers have managed to crawl from the back lines and make it and actually snipe out one of their structures, which is amazing. Our right side flank is victorious, so now our opponent is desperately going to need to scramble to deal with these fortresses, because Mustangs, great damage, you love them, good at everything they do, really aren't going to hold up to this amount of chonk. Frankly, Mustangs are not anti-chonk. They don't specialize particularly well into the anti-chonk. They specialize into pretty much anything except anti-chonk. And we've got a lot of chonkiness on this field. Let's see. Let's go ahead and increase our HP additionally as well. And grab, how about some more Fang to go with it? Ooh. Do I want to upgrade these? I probably should. Probably should, as much as I could instead expand on getting an additional Fang. I'm going to put you guys right here. Put them behind this group. Is this off by one? No, this is correct. This is symmetrical. And then drop the shields. I'll put it off to this side because we already have this flank here, and I don't have to worry myself too much about defending this side because the units here will get involved. So unless we have to worry about the hostile flank of their own, and we shouldn't have too much to worry about. It looks like they are attempting to specialize the anti-single target with the bonus 50% attack increase, which, I mean, it matters, it makes a difference. The problem is it's just not the same measure of DPS as something like, say, a sniper or a overlord artillery, or something that would otherwise be more single target focused. This is different from something like, say, oh, he doesn't even have the splash damage on it. Okay, just say, because splash damage Mustangs are second only to Vulcans in splash damage capability. It's impressive. And it looks like we also have an enemy set of Mustangs in the rear, so we will have to deal with that, as they should wipe out our single set of crawlers back there. But it's fisting time, as we have the giant robots, the giant fortresses that are taking damage and retaliating in kind. Unfortunately, we will lose our structure in the rear, which will cause all of our big dudes to take massive amounts of extra damage. So while they would otherwise have still won the front line, they are being whittled away at a very rapid pace. I say as if our crawlers don't come in to save the day, and now our fortresses are again not going to take damage. It's beautiful. You'll love to see it. This is an example of what I was saying, that Mustangs are still really not single target DPS. They have so many Mustangs here, and just look how long. This is a level 1 fortress. Like, it doesn't have its armor upgrade or anything. I have access to the armor upgrade here if I wanted it. I just don't need it because, well, Mustangs are just not the greatest single target DPS on the field, despite having 3 units of Mustangs hitting this fortress. Like, you gotta be careful. The fortress, it'll launch its hands at you. It'll just ball up a fist and just rocket punch. It's beautiful. These things make me so happy, you have no idea. Oh boy, Giant Hunter is something that he should totally grab. Let me see. How about I grab none of these? And then add fortress and additional range. Put one of you here to defend this. Do I want to do this? Not really, but I'm going to, because if you put something else there, it'll be a problem. And then I can add in you here. But we'll keep up winning one side. And how about we upgrade this guy? No, upgrade this guy. There it is. We did lose our shield here, but that's fine. I'm not too worried about that. And that should be all. The reason I've picked up the charged ammo earlier is to deny it to my opponent, and just in case my opponent decides to take something that I really need to EMP. Because you can use EMPs to knock out the Rocket Fist, which makes the whole Rocket Fist experience rather unpleasant because you can't Rocket Fist when you're EMP'd. We'll notice here that the melting point angered the fortress, and the fortress responded by Rocket Fisting everything. Which makes me happy to see. Makes me very happy to see. That's just satisfying in all the best of ways. With the God, we have so many things. Oh, this makes me happy. There's so much chaff. A little lacking in the splash damage right now. A lot of our fangs didn't make it, and that'll be the last Rocket Fist. But here come the crawlers to save the day. I would prefer if those were instead fangs, because damage output, but you know what? Crawlers work too. As we slam quite hard. This is the fang build with oh my god, can't do this to me. I mean, they can, because our opponent is getting all the good draws. Like, everything here helps my opponent and not so much me, which, I mean, oof. I'll take speed spec. That'll help out somewhat. Let's go ahead and grab shields here. That will help against the tanks, as well as just living longer. Let's see. What else do we need here? I don't particularly need upgrades on these guys because... Oh, you know what? Let's grab Fang Summoning. And I'm still kind of far away from getting anything, from getting the Ignite upgrade. So if I have to bleed HP for this, I can live with that. The thing about upgrading the fortresses, they overkill everything anyway, so it really doesn't matter that much. The Fangs, on the other hand, I'm super into upgrading these. The more of those we get, the better. In fact, let's go ahead and slam in some more Fangs over here. There you go. You look like... This melting point looks a little lonely. Let's fix that, shall we? How about adding in... Who got the most damage done in terms of fangs? This guy did. We'll put the charged ammo in this group here. They can knock things out. Lightning. All I can hope. The lightning is just basically a wipe of everything in its sphere of influence, its circle of influence. So I'm just hoping that we get as much damage done as possible. Of course, due to the retaliatory nature of the fortresses, having that lightning wipe the fortresses just means the fortresses do that much more damage. As you could tell, because we just kind of broke that right side, so not too much has changed. But it still may cost me some life here. I say as if these fortresses aren't now spawning more fangs, which is just the most beautiful thing I've seen. Oh my gosh. It gets so angry. I just love it. The things literally just get mad when you hit them, and then they launch their fists at things. This makes me so happy. This is the best. This makes me so happy. This is the best. Oh my god! Even losing so many of my units to the lightning, we're still overwhelming and devastating that poor melting point. And we hit it with the EMP. So all of its... Did it have the lifesteal active? I think it had lifesteal and range enhancement, and it just couldn't. It's just over. It's over. It's done. Alright guys, if you like this kind of content, these kind of wild strategies, make sure to hit that subscribe button because we got more of them coming soon. But for now, have a good night everyone, and I'll see you guys later.